Hey everyone, you're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. Here's today's comic. Nightwing 57 with this righteous cover. Look at that. Got the wings coming off his back, just the way that it's drawn with perspective. It's kind of holding a boner there. Oh, wait, what? Ash, you pervert. Nightwing 57, Scott Lobdell, Zach Kaplan. This is the guy who does Eclipse image books. Travis Moore art, everyone's least favorite Bond villain. Knock my book around. This is a cool art. That's a cool. Well, very nice. All right. Now, I wasn't gonna, but I succumbed to it. I watched my boy Bats, his video. He did a video on this. And I didn't want, I was like, I'm just going to review this. I knew he didn't like it just from his thumbnail. I didn't want to be influenced, but then I was like, you know what? I'm kind of struggling with this. I'm a brand new Nightwing person. I don't know Nightwing at all. He's a massive Nightwing fan. I really want to hear a different perspective, and he's would give me one. So I listened to what he had to say, and oh boy, is he wrong. Okay, he's not entirely wrong, but and let me say, Zach, Bats, you're my boy. If you're watching this, really, dogs, really. I don't mean any disrespect to you. You know a lot about comics. You teach me a lot about comics. In the end of the day, it's always opinion, subjective, and everything. But I got to tell you, you're wrong. So, number one, her skin is brown, and it's not a pink pussy cap. Okay, this is just a pink beanie with a little cotton ball thingy. Girls can wear pink beanies. I like when girls wear pink. It's feminine. Like, why are we dissing on women wearing pink? I don't understand that. That's Bats. Now, he doesn't like that, and I don't like what the F, dogs. Like, seriously? Like, let's all go out the door and drink water at this exact moment. Silly. So he doesn't like that Nightwing is kind of not Nightwing right now. And his complaint is that Nightwing is not really in the book. To which I can understand that as a fan. There's a difference between being a fan and complaining what's happening in the book and criticizing a book on its own merit. Now, everything that Bat said in his review is perfectly fine. As a fan, what he had to say is inarguable. If he doesn't like the book, he doesn't like the book. He's paying the money. He wants to see what he wants to see. That's fair. So what I'm trying to actually do here is not challenge his opinion or subjective taste, but to challenge the objective idea as whether this book is good or not. So I think the book is okay. There are some flaws in it. I think the art is actually pretty decent, especially since the story doesn't have much dynamicism. I can't ever say that. It's really kind of just like a TV show. There's a lot of just people walking around talking. I mean, this guy's jumping up, kicking his heels. Like, that's, I guess. He gets the door kicked in, knocked down, and we get Nightwing. I don't understand why she's saying, I'm Nightwing. I like this idea that they're going with these 4 people picking up the Nightwing. They have the different era Nightwing costumes they stole from Nightwing. And I like that they're like the Nightwings. I kind of wish that they would call themselves the Nightwings, and then each of them would kind of take their own name. Maybe they're going there, I don't know. I like this idea. Now, Bats hates it. He's like, ah. And I'm like, well, first of all, this is amazes me because, dude, Bats, it's a redheaded woman in a busty redheaded woman kicking ass. And like, why do you hate this? Okay, it's not Dick Grayson, fine. But remember many years ago, many years ago, when Tony Stark became a drunk bastard and he had a heart attack and all this stuff, and then James Rhodes had to pick up the mantle and become Iron Man for a while because Tony Stark couldn't do it. and it became an awesome storyline, and eventually tied in and became War Machine, and was all this cool. It took Iron Man in directions. They made Iron Man more exciting than he'd ever been before. This is way before the movies, right? So you have to remember Iron Man was like a C-list character. They made Iron Man cool with doing stories like this. Nightwing is also kind of like a C-list character. Oh, I know Nightwing fans are going to hate to hear that. It kind of is, okay? This is an interesting concept. We all know Nightwing's not going anywhere, right? This isn't a case of like Riri Williams replacing Nightwing. This is a case of Nightwing has been stale for a long, long, long time. Let's inject some new ideas into it. And this is a neat idea. Nightwing is running around. He's got partial amnesia. Grayson is running around. And he doesn't understand who he wants to be. It hasn't been that many issues. Now, another thing that Bats criticized about the book is that this is not a good jumping on point for new, like he's like, oh, new readers, imagine you're a new reader and you jumped on this book. Here's the thing, I am a new reader. I started with Nightwing 51. So this isn't my first book, but I am this is my first Nightwing story arc. And I'm cool with it. So I'm living testimony to that concept is not right. This is not appealing to people like Bats because they've got 30 years of Nightwing, and man, I gotta tell you, coming from being an old Marvel fanboy into DC, it's really strange to me the difference in the fandom. The DC fanboys just don't like their characters messed with at all. Don't do anything creative. Even if the character has all these faults and things that are kind of dumb about him, don't change it because that would make the character different, and different is unacceptable. You can't be creative with the characters. And that's bad because DC's characters are kind of stuck in the 40s. They need updating. And I know the New 52 had problems and wasn't perfect and it had a lot of backlash, but these characters need to be updated. We're almost at 2020. Okay? We can't have characters running around like it's the 50s still. But DC fans seem to just want this. And I don't know, does DC need to make a separate imprint where it's like a period piece where it is the 50s and it never ages and we have these characters running around in this frozen time period? That'd be pretty cool. I would be down for that. But this is modern times and these characters don't necessarily fit right. Plus, you want to see the same old stories done over and over and over and over and just the same. I like creative ideas. And so far, they haven't done anything in this book, even as a newbie to Nightwing, where I feel like there's a gross violation of the character. I mean, the biggest problem that I'm having is that they're calling him Rick Grayson, which I think is phenomenally stupid. At least call himself Richard. If he's like, look, I don't want the dick nickname, just call me Richard. That would make more sense. But Rick with a C, not even R-I-C-K, it's just... it's so blatantly obvious that they're using this storyline as an excuse to change him from being Dick Grayson, for just going away from the Dick name. I hate that. But in the greater scheme of things, as far as stories, if I didn't know anything about this character, would that be that big of a sin? Not really. It's more of a comics fan thing. And it's like, look, you've had him called Dick Grayson for, 60 years now? Just why are you changing it? It's like, you're too far in. Just keep going. No one cares. No one's making fun of anything. I have to say that this artist, I don't know if he's like the greatest illustrator for comics action, but he does a really good job with facial expressions. That's a really good face for comic art, which really helps sell this particular issue because there's not a lot of action, as Bats pointed out pretty accurately. I'm okay though because we've had action. It's okay to have a down issue now and then to tell the drama. It's not like this is 5 issues in a row of just nothing but characters talking about whatever. We've already had, them fight Scarecrow. Now we've got this daughter of the Joker character, which I'm not familiar with. I don't really like her. Don't like her. And I thought Barbara, this is something I need to talk to Bats about. So Barbara Gordon comes to talk to her, and she's like, oh, you're here to see Rick, da-da-da-da, no. And then she's like, look, maybe he'll remember and want to be more like who he was. And maybe he'll discover he wants to be something new. Whatever his journey is, he's got to find himself. You're right. He's got to find his own way. I can't imagine how hard it is to see someone you love forget and change, especially when that ex has moved on. But the guy you were in love with, he's not the same. Her face is like, what? Wait, stop. What exactly did he tell you about me? That you wanted him back? I thought that meant... Yeah, I thought that meant too. She's like, ha ha ha, you thought Dick and I... Ha ha ha. I don't know. You need to clue me in on this. Like, I thought Barbara Gordon and Dick Grayson were like a thing. I thought they were a Peter and Mary Jane thing. And I like that. What I know, even if they can't be together because of their situations, there's this love that can't be, the knot can't be tied, but they both, I don't know, this character bothers me. But, it's a storyline. It's not, I'll see where the storyline goes before I judge the end. I think she could end up turning to be a bad person, but they're making her into this super saint, so I don't know. There's this part where, and Bats was totally right on, where they go to this council meeting. Look at that. Yeah. They go to this council meeting. I don't even know where it's at. And, oh yeah. And Rick Grayson decides to go. He's like, oh yeah, I'm not lost anymore. I'm just inspired. You are a superhero, B. You, cut it out, you big softy. Don't tell anyone. Come find me later. I'll be back after my shift. Maybe then I can walk you home. Because she had made this big speech, which was kind of good speech out, and all things being considered. No, you're not a superhero. This is SJW nonsense. Speaking out on the behalf of marginalized people doesn't make you a superhero. It makes you a decent person, maybe. It's good that you do those things. That's actually expected. That should be normal behavior. Not heroic behavior, and certainly not superheroic behavior. Did you risk anything? What did you sacrifice other than your time to sit here and make this impassioned speech about homeless people? Nothing. People are soldiers, are men and women of service, are going overseas, putting their lives on the line for the country. Those are more heroic than you. Police officers, more heroic than you. Rick Grayson saying this, no. Batman, devoting his entire life, being a super rich billionaire and could just be a playboy and live the high life for the rest of his life. Have every woman he wants, every toy he wants. No, throwing that, tosses it aside so that he can devote his life to being a superhero. That's a superhero. This bothered me here. This book is not perfect. And when I said I was going to tell Bats he's wrong, and that face is kind of red. I think it's a printing issue. This whole book is really tinted orangey, so I don't know if the colorist was trying to have really warm lighting. Maybe that's why. But 14 minutes into this book, it's okay. It's not nearly as bad as Bats makes it sound. I really like where it's going. This was a little bit more of a downer issue. Not downer and being a bad issue, but you have to have peaks and valleys, right? even the latest Detective Comics was kind of a valley, because you can't just ride high all the time. You can't just be, because then otherwise those highs don't feel high, right? It's like if you ride a roller coaster, you get those couple really big drops, and then you coast around, whoosh, and you get a couple of those. And that's how comics kind of have to be. You have like, boom, massive, it's like, holy crap, and then it's like, okay, build some story around, do some story, and then boom. So I'm hoping that's where this is going. I think, Bats, you were a little unfair on this book. I think you were being very subjective, which is fine as a fan. Oops, spoiler. You can be subjective. I would just hope maybe in the future, as someone I respect, separate your subjectivity with your objectivity. Just, I think this book is okay. It's, as someone who doesn't like Nightwing, it's making me buy issues, and as someone who likes Nightwing, you don't want to buy these issues, but this is temporary. This is, try to embrace the creativity and where it's going. And if it's not actually destroying your character, nothing has destroyed Nightwing yet. Nothing is irreversible. There's nothing that you couldn't just have one issue where he's like, oh my God, my memories just all came flooding back, and he's Dick Grayson again. Like, you see what I'm saying? They haven't ruined Nightwing. They just have him off the path right now. Just like when Tony Stark had a heart attack and was a drunk. There's nothing to say he couldn't get off the alcohol and get some medical attention and get back in the suit, which he eventually did. So remember that. Enjoy comics for what they give you. And Scott Lobdell, I like Scott because he likes to go off the beaten path. He likes to go into areas that, are unusual and not something you'd expect. And sometimes that doesn't work. But if you always play it safe, comics will be boring. So you have to take the strikes in order to get some home runs. That's all I have to say about this. Hope you enjoyed watching. Sorry for being so long. Bats, hope you're not offended. Love you, boy. See you later.